Imagine for a moment a world where the greatest economic minds, Adam Smith and Karl Marx, stand face to face, each armed with their vision of how society should function, how wealth should be created and distributed, and what it means to pursue progress. Their debate is not just a clash of ideas, it is the story of the modern world itself. Which of their visions explains our reality better? Is it the invisible hand of capitalism or the guiding hand of socialism? And in the end, is it possible that neither system can truly survive without some element of the other? Adam Smith is often hailed as the father of capitalism, a thinker whose ideas have shaped economies for centuries. At the heart of his philosophy is a simple, profound belief in the free market. When individuals are free to pursue their own interests, Smith argued, they do not merely satisfy their personal desires, they unintentionally promote the good of society. This he called the invisible hand, a force that guides resources to their most productive uses, encourages innovation, and rewards hard work. For Smith, the marketplace is not just an arena of competition. It is a mechanism for harmony, order, and ultimately, human flourishing. In stark contrast, Karl Marx viewed capitalism not as a force for good, but as a system built on exploitation. According to Marx, the story of human society is the story of class struggle, the powerful versus the powerless, the owners versus the workers. His theory of historical materialism declared that economic forces drive history forward, and that capitalism, by its very nature, sows the seeds of its own destruction. Marx predicted that the relentless pursuit of profit would eventually alienate workers, concentrate wealth in the hands of a few, and create conditions ripe for revolution. Out of the ashes of capitalism, he envisioned, would rise socialism, a society based on collective ownership and shared prosperity. Smith's vision of capitalism is one of dynamism and liberty. He saw competition not just as a means to wealth, but as a catalyst for innovation, efficiency, and the betterment of all. Private property, for Smith, is sacred, not simply a right, but a foundation for progress. Free markets, in his eyes, are the engines that drive humanity forward, unlocking human potential and rewarding those who contribute their talents and efforts. But Marx saw a darker side to this story. To him, private ownership was not a source of freedom, but a root of inequality. When resources are concentrated in the hands of a few, he argued, society becomes divided and the majority are left vulnerable to exploitation. Marx championed collective ownership, the redistribution of resources, and the abolition of class divisions. He believed that only through shared control could society prevent the abuses and imbalances inherent in capitalism. Smith placed his trust in decentralized decision-making. He believed that millions of individuals, each making choices in their own interest, would naturally create an efficient and harmonious economy. Markets, he argued, are self-correcting, guided by the laws of supply and demand. There is no need for heavy-handed intervention. The invisible hand will take care of itself. Marx, however, saw danger in this very freedom. In a decentralized economy, he believed, workers are at the mercy of capitalists, subject to market fluctuations and the whims of those who own the means of production. Without central planning, he warned, the powerful will always find ways to exploit the weak, and the economy will be prone to crises and instability. History has put both theories to the test. Capitalist economies inspired by Smith have unleashed waves of technological advancement, wealth creation, and rising standards of living. But they have also been marred by recurring financial crises, widening gaps between rich and poor, and challenges to social cohesion. The benefits of capitalism are undeniable, but so are its costs. Socialist experiments inspired by Marx have, at times, succeeded in reducing poverty and guaranteeing basic needs. They have sought to protect the vulnerable and create societies based on equality. Yet, the record is mixed. Many socialist systems have suffered from bureaucratic inefficiency, a lack of innovation, and in some cases, political repression. The absence of market incentives can stifle creativity and motivation, while attempts at central planning often lead to unintended consequences. Smith's theory shines brightest in its encouragement of entrepreneurship and its ability to reward talent and initiative. But it often underestimates the ways in which unchecked markets can damage the environment, erode social trust, and leave the most vulnerable behind. Externalities, costs imposed on society by private actions, can go unaddressed, and the pursuit of profit can sometimes undermine the public good. Marx's vision, on the other hand, puts equality and collective well-being at the center. It reminds us that prosperity is hollow if it is not shared, and that society must care for those left behind. Yet, when rewards are disconnected from individual effort, motivation can falter, and economic dynamism may suffer. Striking a balance between fairness and incentive has proven to be one of the greatest challenges for socialist systems. Today, pure capitalism and pure socialism are rare. Instead, most countries have adopted mixed economies, blending Smith's emphasis on market freedom with Marx-inspired social protections. The result is a range of hybrids, each seeking to balance efficiency with equity, competition with compassion. Consider the Scandinavian countries. Their capitalist markets generate wealth, but that wealth is used to fund generous welfare states, healthcare, education, social security, creating societies that are both prosperous and relatively equal. Some call this model socialist capitalism, a testament to the power of synthesis. Even in the United States, the world's emblem of capitalism, policies like Social Security, public education, and progressive taxation reflect Marxist concerns for workers' well-being and social justice. The presence of safety nets and regulatory frameworks shows that even the most market-oriented societies recognize the need for balance. Conversely, socialist countries like China have embraced market reforms, allowing capitalist competition and entrepreneurial spirit to drive economic growth. Yet, this occurs within a tightly controlled political system, demonstrating that elements of capitalism and socialism can coexist in surprising ways. This convergence points to a pragmatic truth. Neither capitalism nor socialism, in their purest forms, can sustain the complex demands of modern society. Progress is not born from ideological purity, but from creative balance, a willingness to borrow, adapt, and combine ideas from both traditions. However, this equilibrium is always fragile. Economic shocks, political unrest, and growing global inequalities test the limits of our systems. The tension between state control and market freedom is never fully resolved, and the pendulum swings back and forth with each new generation. As globalization accelerates and technology transforms the world, Smith's insights into the power of markets and incentives continue to drive growth and innovation. Yet, Marx's warnings about class division, alienation, and systemic crisis are more relevant than ever, reminding us that economic success must be measured not only by wealth, but by justice and inclusion. Perhaps it is fair to say that Smith understood the mechanics of the economic machine, while Marx grasped its human cost. Both perspectives are essential, and neither is sufficient alone. In the end, both thinkers underestimated the adaptability of human societies. Modern economies are living systems, constantly evolving, combining elements once thought incompatible. The boundaries between capitalism and socialism blur and shift, giving rise to new forms, new challenges, and new possibilities. So perhaps Smith and Marx are not bitter enemies after all, but two sides of the same coin. Their ideas remain vital not because one is right and the other is wrong, but because both help us navigate the complex terrain of prosperity and justice. But this brings us to a final, profound question. Can any single individual truly embody the essence of capitalism or socialism? Or are these systems, by their very nature, larger than any one person, dynamic, evolving, and shaped by countless forces beyond anyone's control? After all, while policies and institutions shape societies, individuals, whether leaders or ordinary citizens, are driven by personal ambitions, fears, and hopes. The line between public good and private gain is often blurred, and the struggle to reconcile them continues in every nation, every community, and every life. So what do you think? Does the system shape people, or do people shape the system? Share your thoughts and continue the conversation as we explore the ideas that define our world and the thinkers who dare to imagine something better.